Okay, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to replace the fuel injectors on a 2007-2011 JKU Wrangler, Jeep Wrangler. You watched my other video, I diagnosed that I had a bad injector. The injector was showing zero resistance when it's warm. That's typical for these trucks. It's typical for a lot of cars, but especially on the Jeeps. And basically, I'm going to just take the plenum off and show you how to do it. I'm not going to do a live video of me taking off bolts. I'm sure you don't want to watch a 2-hour video, an hour video of me just, taking it off. Just showing you the steps is the best way, I believe, on all my videos. So what I'm going to do is basically take off the air cleaner hose, this EGR tube, disconnect that connector. I'm going to replace the coil pack, so I'm going to just take that off. You don't have to, but I am. So I'm going to take that off too. And once I get there, I'll show you what I did, and we'll continue from there. Okay, so far, I took off this hose clamp, this hose, 8mm bolts takes this cover off. Okay, now down here you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 10mm on this side, 10mm on the other side for the plenum. I took the hose off the air cleaner. And what else did I do? Disconnected this plug. Disconnected. Let me get it the other way. This plug too. That goes here for the throttle body. That's this one. Move it out of the way. Okay. This one. Then you're gonna have, you see these bolts? Another 4 on this side. And what you're gonna have to do is either you can pry up on this metal bar, the EGR, or you may have to loosen it. I mean, when I did this engine job, I had the fender off, I had this all off, and it was easy to get to it. Now it's not really easy. So maybe you could just pry it up. I'll let you know what I did. Just enough so you can just slide the plenum out and the injectors are underneath. I don't believe you have to take off the, you have to relieve the pressure. I don't think so. Let me see what I do, and I'll let you know. So now on this side, this bracket, what I did, I just bent it up a little bit, put a little pry bar on there, nice and just enough to clear it, because to get to the bolts, they're all the way down in there. Kind of hard to do, but it ain't doing anything. Just remove the bracket bolt here, and it gives you enough room to clear it. You take out the bolts here, the 4 10mm, and now it's loose. I'm just gonna take it and slide it out, and then go from there. Okay, so basically I just lift this up and just slid it out. It's right here. All right, the whole thing so far from start to where I'm right now is only about 20 minutes. It's not that long. Okay, and being I replaced this motor, rebuilt it and everything. The gaskets under here, they're new. I'm gonna reuse them. They're fine. They're still okay. But if you're taking yours off and they're old, it's a good idea to replace them so you don't have any kind of an air leak. Okay, so now what this does, it exposes the fuel injectors. That's the number 1. That was bad, but I'm gonna replace them all. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take off these 10mm right here. This is the fuel rail. Take off all the electrical connectors, all 6 connectors. Just move things out of the way. And what you're gonna do, because they're all in there with the O-rings, you're just gonna pry them up, pop the whole rail out. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, the only special tool, I guess special tool you can call it, that you're gonna need is you're gonna have to release the fuel pressure. And how that is basically, there's a spring in there, a round spring, that when you push it in, it goes over there's a little ridge. It goes over that ridge and it pops out. So you're gonna need this, something that looks like this. All right, fuel pressure release tube. Connector release, I'm sorry. And basically, okay, you put this on like this, and you squeeze it together, and what it does, and then when you push it in here, what it does is just opens up the spring and releases it from the rail, because this rail here, like I said, has a little ridge on it. So when you put it on, the spring goes over the ridge and locks, so you can't pull it out. So you need this to separate this. You have to put this in here like this. It's hard to do with just holding a camera. You just push it all the way in, and then the whole thing pops right out. You have to do that in order to get the fuel rail out. But that's basically the only special tool you're going to need. Okay, so now I took off all the injector wires. Here's the harness. The harness is right. Let me put this. The harness is right here. You just move it out of the way. Okay, it's a good idea to check this harness. You check all your little wiring connectors on the harness itself. This harness actually comes out. It's in a loom right here, and it's this big plug right here that takes the wire harness and a couple of other sensors in the front of the engine. But anyway, you just check it, make sure that none of the wires are broken or the insulation is cracked. You check each one. It's a good idea. And so now the final step would be to take out these 4 10mm bolts, and you're going to have to pry up each of the injectors out of the intake manifold, because it's, like I said, they're with O-rings, and this whole thing comes out. All right, and then you replace it. It may look a little intimidating, but you follow my video. You have any questions, just let me know. It's actually not. You just take your time, work neat, and you'll get it out. So I'll show you what the rail looks like when it's out. Okay, what I did was I used like a pry bar, and you pry just a little bit, easy on each one of them. You try to get 1, 2, and 3, and on the other side, maybe you can pry up on the bracket right here, these little tabs, little by little, to pry it up. You don't want to break it, okay? And it should pop right out. Again, like I said, mine comes out right here. And that's how she comes out. Mine came out maybe a little bit easier than yours if they weren't replaced, because I did take these off. I ohmed them out and everything, but how you supposed to know, that they'll fail when they're warm? You just don't. A good practice was to replace them, but I replaced so many. I was trying to save a little bit of money, and I was assuming that they'll be okay, and look what happened. But anyhow, before I went on a trip, I test drove it, and that's why you do that. And I'm going to replace them all. And basically, there's a little clip. There's a little clip right here. You take the clip out, and they pop out. See the O-rings? There's the O-ring inside too. And you replace them. I would replace all 6, and I wouldn't use aftermarket cheapo ones because you're only looking for trouble. I would use, these are Bosch. I bought Bosch. I can put a link, but I bought them on eBay, and the link may expire. But anyhow, there's where they live. Here's the holes right here. Clean it up. And a couple of things I want to point out is before you take them out, make sure you blow them with something compressed air, so you don't want no dirt going in there. And disconnect, like I did, the negative battery terminal in the beginning of this procedure. I'm going to put that in the description before you start anything. Okay. And basically, that's it. Like I said, you check your wiring, make sure everything is neat, nothing is torn or melted or anything like that. And you just replace the injectors with new ones, and you put everything back. Put a little bit of grease on each injector hole, and then you little by little you wiggle each one in, until the whole thing sits down, and you put your screws on, your 4 10mm screws, and you push it, put a little pressure on it, and you wiggle each one, make sure they're all seated in properly, and then you just reverse the procedure to install everything. It's really not that hard. All right, I don't have the injectors yet. I'm waiting. They're coming tomorrow, so I can't show you how I'm installing them. But it's basically like I just told you. Go to the bench again. You just take them out, They're very simple. And note, actually a good idea is to note, this is the front of the engine. This is the passenger side of the engine. Which way it orientated. You see, with the two little tabs here. And then on this side, the tabs are the opposite way. Make sure you put them all back the right way so the wire harness clips in the right way. All right, guys? And so basically it's just, what did I, here? I took the core pack out. Like I told you, you don't have to do that. But we just got the 8 10mm bolts. Took the air cleaner hose off. Took the plenum off. You know, it's really not that hard of a job. You don't have to, the only thing is you have to have a special tool to disconnect the fuel. All right, guys, Motorcar Nut 2020. I'll see you guys in the next video. Please subscribe, hit the like button. I'm trying to build the channel with information. Hopefully somebody will learn something, or, you know, if you're going to tackle this job, you check my video out first. Things like that. That's what it's all about. All right, see you next, guys. Bye.